You're lying in bed, your body heavy with exhaustion, but your mind refuses to switch off. The clock keeps ticking, and every passing minute feels like another reminder that tomorrow will be brutal. You toss, you turn, you sigh, but instead of slipping into rest, your thoughts keep racing in circles. It's one of the most frustrating experiences, being tired, yet trapped awake inside your own head. A sleepless night doesn't just vanish when the sun rises. It follows you into every corner of your life with an invisible weight. You wake up groggy, stumbling through the morning as if you're already 10 steps behind before the day has even begun. The alarm feels like an enemy, the snooze button your false savior, and still, exhaustion wins. Your body is present, but your mind is dragging itself through quicksand. And the damage is not just physical. It seeps into your emotions in ways you barely notice until it's too late. Small inconveniences feel like personal attacks, and simple requests suddenly feel impossible to handle with grace. You lash out at people you care about, knowing deep down the anger isn't really at them. It's the exhaustion speaking, twisting your patience into frustration with every tired breath. When the cycle repeats night after night, the consequences compound like interest on a debt you never agreed to take. Your immune system weakens, your energy fades, and no amount of caffeine can buy back the clarity you've lost. Stress becomes your default mode, and anxiety creeps in when your body desperately wants rest. The fog in your head becomes heavier, a reminder that neglecting sleep is a choice you keep paying for. I remember a friend who thought staying up late with work was proof of dedication, a badge of honor she wore proudly. But the truth was cruel. Every hour she stole from sleep was an hour stolen from tomorrow's focus and energy. She wasn't gaining ground. She was digging a hole that grew deeper each day. Until she realized her nights were sabotaging her mornings, nothing in her life could truly change. We like to tell ourselves stories at night. Little excuses that make our habits feel harmless when they're really not. I'm just relaxing on my phone. You whisper, scrolling endlessly through feeds that leave you emptier than before. I'll just watch one more video. You promise, even though you know it's never just one. The truth is, these lies feel comforting in the moment, but cruel in the morning. We call it relaxation, but our bodies know better. Because relaxation restores while distraction only drains. That glowing screen doesn't calm your mind. It jolts it awake with noise and stimulation you'll carry into bed. The endless episodes, the late-night emails, the mindless scrolling, none of it is rest. It's avoidance dressed up as comfort, and your brain pays the price. Avoidance is sneaky because it feels like relief when you're running from what you don't want to face. Maybe it's the stress you buried during the day. Maybe it's the thoughts you don't want to hear in the silence. So, you drown them out with noise, with tasks, with distractions that buy you time but steal your peace. You're not relaxing, you're numbing. I once believed my late-night habits were harmless, that I was simply unwinding before bed. But the mornings told the truth, because every just one more scroll left me deeper in exhaustion and regret. What I thought was a comfort was actually a trap, holding me in the very cycle I wanted to escape. And until I faced that, nothing in my nights or my life could change. One night, after repeating the same cycle for what felt like the 100th time, I finally asked myself a simple question. Why do I feel so tired all day if I'm supposedly resting every night? That's when it hit me. I wasn't resting at all. I was just distracting myself until exhaustion forced me to shut down. And exhaustion isn't sleep, it's surrender. The truth clicked when I stumbled on a single idea that changed the way I saw my nights forever. How you end your day is how you start your next one. It was like a punch to the chest, because I realized I was beginning every morning already in debt. Not financial debt, but energy debt. Paying for the comfort of distraction with the currency of tomorrow. I saw clearly that the problem wasn't about getting into bed earlier. It was about entering bed with a mind still on fire. My brain wasn't shutting off because I hadn't given it permission to slow down. I had spent all evening pouring in stimulation, noise, and stress, then expected silence to magically appear. And silence doesn't appear, it must be created. That night, I made a decision that felt both terrifying and liberating. I would stop treating sleep like a passive accident and start treating it like a practice, a ritual worth protecting. No more leaving my nights up to chance. No more pretending my habits didn't matter. For the first time in years, I decided to build a system that would carry me into rest instead of chaos. Once I realized the truth, I didn't magically fix everything overnight. I had to experiment. I treated my evenings like a laboratory, testing small changes and noticing how they made me feel the next morning. Some ideas worked for a day and then faded, while others made no difference at all. But each attempt taught me something about what my mind and body actually needed. I tried reading before bed, thinking it would calm me down, but some nights the story pulled me deeper awake instead of asleep. I experimented with journaling, filling pages with scattered thoughts, and noticed my head felt lighter when I emptied it. Meditation came next, though sitting in silence at first felt unbearable, like my brain was screaming at me. Still, I kept exploring, one habit at a time. Cleaning my room before bed was another test, and to my surprise, it worked better than I expected. A tidy desk, no clothes on the chair, no dishes left on the counter. It made my space feel like a place of rest, not unfinished work. I even tried setting rules with my phone, sometimes failing, sometimes succeeding, but learning each time. Slowly, the puzzle pieces began to form a picture. Over weeks of trial and error, I found the combination that actually worked. Not perfect, not extreme, just sustainable. My nights started to feel calmer, and my mornings began without the usual fog or guilt. For the first time in years, I wasn't just hoping for sleep. I was preparing for it, and that preparation changed everything. Most people don't actually end their workday. They just let it bleed into the night until exhaustion takes over. Your brain doesn't know when to stop, so it keeps spinning with unfinished tasks, emails, and half-done thoughts. That's why you lie in bed still solving problems from hours ago, unable to switch off. Sleep doesn't come because the day never really ended. The shutdown ritual changes that because it gives your mind a signal that work is done. I close my laptop with intention. No more last-minute browsing or sneaky emails. I write down everything I didn't finish and what I'll start with tomorrow, so the weight leaves my head and lives on paper. Then I physically step away from my workspace, as if crossing a boundary into rest. Even something so small creates a huge shift, because the brain craves closure. It wants to know the chapter has ended. When I started doing this, I noticed my thoughts didn't chase me into bed anymore. It felt like telling my mind, "We're safe, we're done, you can let go now." That little line of separation made sleep come easier without me even trying. I know someone who runs a small business and used to answer messages at midnight, thinking it showed dedication. But instead, it drained her energy and blurred the lines between work and life. When she set a last check alarm at 8:30 p.m. and closed everything after, her sleep improved within a week. Sometimes, shutting down is the most productive thing you can do. The second step sounds simple, but its impact is powerful. Clear your space before you sleep. I'm not talking about scrubbing the floor or deep cleaning the entire house. I mean a quick reset, 5 to 10 minutes of putting things where they belong. Because the space you see before bed sets the tone for the mind you carry into rest. When I started this habit, I realized something strange. My brain actually felt lighter. Dirty dishes left in the sink or clothes tossed on the chair were more than clutter. They were unfinished conversations with my environment. Each mess whispered, "You still have work to do," even if I was already in bed. Tidying became less about cleaning and more about closing open loops. Think about how you feel waking up to a messy desk or chaotic room. It's like starting your morning with a to-do list already waiting. Your energy gets drained before you've even poured your coffee, because your brain processes clutter as tasks left undone. A clear room, on the other hand, is like a silent invitation to breathe. It tells you the day has ended and tomorrow hasn't yet begun. Now, my 5-minute reset is as automatic as brushing my teeth. I put dishes in the sink, fold clothes, clear my desk, and dim the lights. It's a ritual that signals my environment to work with me, not against me. Sleep is easier when the world around you feels calm, and mornings are brighter when you open your eyes to order instead of chaos. The third step is the hardest one for most of us. Put the phone away. Not use it less, not just check one last thing. I mean no phone at all for the final 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Because every time you pick it up, you're not winding down, you're firing your brain back up. And your brain doesn't know the difference between a crisis and a TikTok scroll. We trick ourselves into believing we're relaxing, but the truth is that the glowing screen floods the mind with stimulation. Your thoughts start racing, your emotions spike with every post, and your sleep timer resets with every scroll. That's why you feel awake even when your body is exhausted. The phone isn't soothing you, it's stealing your rest while pretending to be comfort. Replacing that habit changed everything for me. Instead of scrolling, I grab a book, sip herbal tea, or dim the lights and just sit in the quiet. One of my friends did the same and swears she falls asleep 40 minutes faster now. When I leave my phone across the room to charge, I'm not tempted to just check. The distance creates discipline. At first, it feels like withdrawal. You'll reach for the phone out of pure habit, like a phantom itch. But the stillness that comes after is worth it, because silence finally has room to appear. Sleep begins before your eyes close, and it begins with what you feed your brain. Remove the digital noise, and your body will remember how to rest. Once the noise is gone, I create what I call the wind-down window, a slow descent into rest instead of a crash landing. I dim the lights, make a cup of herbal tea, and let the pace of my body start to match the pace of the night. No rushing, no multitasking. No, just one more thing. It's about stepping out of the day and gently entering a different rhythm. Think of it like landing a plane. You don't slam it down. You guide it smoothly until the wheels touch the ground. Your mind works the same way. It doesn't go from chaos to silence instantly. It needs a gradual shift, small cues that whisper, "We're safe now." That's what this ritual creates, a signal that it's time to descend into sleep. Sometimes I add a mindful moment here, 5 minutes of meditation, prayer, or simply breathing in the quiet. It's not about technique or perfection. It's about stillness. Even a few minutes of being present in your own body can shift your mood completely. Stillness is not empty. It's the doorway to calm. The first time I tried this, it felt strange, like I was wasting time by doing nothing. But then I noticed how much faster I fell asleep, how much lighter my mornings felt. That 5-minute pause was worth more than any extra scrolling or task I could have done. In the silence, I didn't lose time. I gained it back. The final step is simple, but it changes everything. Treat sleep as sacred, not optional. I stopped seeing it as leftover time and started protecting it like an important meeting. That means a dark, cool room, a consistent schedule, and a bed that signals rest instead of chaos. When you respect sleep, your body rewards you with energy you didn't know you had. Since building this routine, my mornings feel calm instead of rushed, and my focus lasts longer without burning out. I don't dread the alarm anymore because my nights no longer leave me in debt. The smallest rituals, closing the laptop, clearing the room, setting the phone aside, add up to massive change. And those changes ripple into every corner of life. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Your nights don't just end your day. They create your tomorrow. Start small tonight. even if it's just writing down tomorrow's tasks or dimming the lights earlier. Build one habit, then stack another, until the ritual becomes automatic. Momentum doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from starting something. So here's my challenge. Don't wait until someday. Don't put this off until you're ready. Pick one small change and do it tonight, not tomorrow. Then share this with someone who also lies awake feeling stuck, because the right idea at the right time can change everything. And if you want more simple habits that make life lighter, hit subscribe. Your future self will thank you.